What a morning or day. It's 2:12. I'm supposed to be at this demo, which time has gotten kind of confused and backwards. So I'm trying to get approval and see if I'm going to be able to work it or not. So yay, life for me. Love that for myself. I only say that because I am struggling so much in all areas of my life. Like, I would at least like one thing in my life to go well. Well, there are a few things going well, like my family, my relationship. Those are going well, so I'm very grateful for those. I just wish like my career would and finances would match up, but they don't. So I'm trying to figure that out. Yeah, the past few days has been a little bit hectic. Actually, all week is pretty crazy, and people have been really weird. Like, people have just been seems like they're just floating along and just trying to figure out life, which is okay, because, I mean, we all do that, and we all need to do that, in order for us to kind of, like, regroup and figure out what the hell it is that we're doing. So, those things are okay, and you don't know until you do those things. So yeah, it's been a busy week. However, haven't had any solid commitments yet when it comes to helping people in my particular job. So when it comes to it, like, those commitments haven't been the greatest. So yes, it's busy, but it hasn't been financially great. So I'm still pushing through. I'm not gonna give up and just go forward and hope for better. Hopefully next week is better. So anyways, a couple of things that I really wanted to talk about are just really, like, I have like this weird kind of relationship with humanity, I guess. I feel very isolated, and I feel isolated because my persona and my thoughts and visions are usually never what anybody else's are. So whenever I find people to connect, I really kind of attach to them and cling to them, because there's not a lot of people like that. One, of course, is going to be like my boyfriend and my family. My family is very good to me, because even though we have different like outlooks and like ways of thinking, our times can still be very well, because we adapt to each other, so that's great. And I have a few relationships like in my girlfriends that, like, I really enjoy being with them and I miss them. However, I know usually like our schedules never really kind of work together to where we can hang out. And when it comes to me, like, I necessarily don't like going out if my finances aren't okay, because I don't want to have to kind of watch the menu or watch what I do. Like, if I go out, I want to have like a good time and not worry about anything. So lately I just kind of been like in my hermit mode and just at home and trying to reevaluate my life and figure out what is the best way to make it better and make myself better. And it's really hard because I feel like I'm inadvertently trying to avoid any type of catastrophe, as you might say. And then when I do that, I feel like it affects my communication. And when it affects my communication, it's almost like I can't see clearly. I can't see what's in front of me, and it's hard for me to see what's in front of me because I am so trapped in my own mind. And even though I try so hard to stop doing that, I feel like the more I try to not do that, the more that I am actually doing it. God, I'm exhausted. And I'm sure a lot of other people do it too. Like, gosh, it's daunting and exhausting, and I really want to be better, and I don't even know how. I try to be positive, and I am positive for small amounts of the time of the day, because I'm positive and knowing that I have really good people in my life, and that even though my job is not where I want it to be, I know that there's some places where I can make improvement. And before, I would have never have thought that. I'd be like, oh, this job just sucks and it's whatever. It's everything but me, right? I create like all these excuses that don't have anything to do with me. Now I see it differently. Like, okay, maybe I should do this differently. Maybe I should approach it differently. Maybe I should close it differently. All of those things. Like today, I knew that I had to be here at whatever time the sheet said. I know that if that time is wrong, I am not able to work because of the strict policies that this particular store has. And something kind of told me, like, hey, you should call. Even though there is a particular person within the company that calls and verifies all these times. Sometimes they can be a little bit different. So I knew I should have done those things. And even though it's not my job to do it, but it's my job to make sure that I fucking get paid, that I am able to work and get paid. And because I didn't follow my gut instinct, I don't know if I'll be able to work and get paid. It's 18 minutes after. And apparently the time that I was supposed to be here was 11. And even though I wouldn't have been able to make it because I had other obligations before this, like, yes, like I should take accountability for it too. Because yes, it's easy for me to blame other things in the environment and in the work environment and in the structure. There is like a lack. I can easily blame that. But I am responsible for me too. Like, I should have did these things. So now it's like me becoming more accountable for all the things that are happening around me. Like, hell, like not having been able to pay bills. You know, I probably should have done things a lot different. You know, like whenever the times I do have money, I need to save instead of being like, oh, well, it's okay. I'm going to get paid next week and I can, let's go get dinner, or let me buy this toy for my daughter, any of those things. And so now I'm like, okay, I can't do that shit anymore. Like, I need to be fucking responsible because I work in industry where things are fluctuate. They fluctuate and it's not stable. So I need to make sure that I'm stable so that way I can sustain the amount of finances that I can hold on to that is going to last me in case I have a stagnant week or fuck even month. So that is my job to do. And a lot of people, especially like a few people that I talk to, they're like, Mona, why don't you just do this? Or Mona, why don't you just ask this, for help? Why don't you ask me for help? Seriously, because I don't know when I'm going to be able to pay you back. It's not because, one, I am embarrassed and I am ashamed and I feel like a loser and I feel like no matter what I do, I always have like 10,000 setbacks. However, those are my fault. It's all my fault too. And I don't want to put somebody else in a bind because I don't have my shit together. And I would feel really bad that if I couldn't pay this person back and then let's say they go behind on their whatever because I couldn't pay them back in a timely manner. Like, I would be devastated. Like, I would be more depressed than anything. And so, like, I feel like I need to start taking more accountability in my life and not blaming other things. For instance, like my ex. And for a long time, I blamed my ex for a lot of shit. For one, he did me dirty for a very long time. However, my dumbass never learned from that. And I just kept falling into that comfort zone and being naive and feeling like, oh, well, he'll get better. Because I fell in love with his potential. I would thought that things would change if I, submitted and did all these things that he wanted, whatever that may be. Well, that never happened. So then now I'm accountable for not following my instincts, and I'm accountable for hoping that he would be there and be somebody that I could depend on when I should have been depending on myself the whole time. So yes, how a lot of people want to sit here and say, oh, I would have had a better life if things would have worked out, or, if he wouldn't have done these things, I wouldn't have been in this situation. And at the same time, I'm in this situation because of myself. I'm in this situation because I was naive and I was trying to be like dependent instead of being independent, and not really taking in on any responsibilities. So now I'm holding myself accountable, and now I'm really getting my, as you would say, I guess, a harsh way to be, like, karma. And it's karma because I was not being smart. I was taking everything for granted and not really taking the step back and be like, okay, let's be smarter. Let's take our time. Let's do things this way instead of this way. And instead, I just kept doing the same things the same way forever. And like, oh, it'll be fine. Oh, it'll be fine. Because when I grew up with no money. I really had a struggle through my, childhood with having food on the table, having lights, any of those things. And I said I wouldn't do those. And however, the way my mom's mentality was, oh, it'll be fine. If it gets turned off, it's okay. Well, but we're going to do this, and we're going to use money on this instead of this, because we can stretch it out this way. So that was my mentality this whole time. So now I'm realizing I can't be that way. I need to change my ways if I want to be better. So in order for me to be better, yes, I don't need to buy anything unless it's completely gone. And yes, my kids are like, Mom, are you sure you don't want to buy paper towels? No, because a pack of paper towels is super expensive. Or if it's like, okay, stop buying water bottles and buying the gallons of water. Like, those are annoying things because then you have to use a glass, right? Or no paper plates because you have to wash dishes now. Like, no, we're not going to spend any necessary money that we don't have to. So, yes, or those foil pans because you don't have to wash. You can just throw them away. For one, they're bad on the environment. And two, it's a waste of money. So, those are just some small things that I'm starting to change. And to really be better, not just for myself, but also for the environment and the world as a whole. So, I don't know. That is just like a ramble of my mind today, because my mind is going 10,000 miles an hour, and I'm trying to slow down, but it's not, because I'm stressed the fuck out, and I feel bad. I feel bad as a mom. I feel bad as a partner, as a daughter, as a sister. Because I can't really afford anything right now. Like I said this morning, I told my boyfriend this morning, I was like, yeah, it's gonna be great because I get to probably ask my dad for money on Father's Day. And then I'm gonna go claim that fucking failure of a daughter award. And he's like, stop it. That's not true. But I don't feel that way. I feel like I know. I just want my dad to be proud. Because I didn't always have a good relationship with my dad. But I do want him to be proud. And I know I have to be proud of myself too. And I am proud of myself for making everything this far and being as resilient and keeping it going. But I feel defeated. But I know it's going to get better. I know it is, because I'm not going to give up. I'm fucking not going to give up. Anyways, I'm going to end that there. I hope y'all have a good weekend.